All right, so you've looked at a chart and thought, man, if only I could have gotten in right at the turn, right? Well, today we're digging into a strategy designed to do pretty much that. We're going to break down a multi-timeframe approach using the good old Relative Strength Index, or RSI. This whole thing is based on some sharp analysis from the YouTube channel Stock Arrow, and it's all about seeing the big picture first and then zooming in for the perfect entry. Okay, let's start with this quote, because it's huge. Before we even look at a single candlestick, the source material hammers this point home: your most important trading tool, it isn't some fancy indicator. It's what's going on between your ears, your mindset. Because let's be real, the best strategy in the world is completely useless if you can't keep your cool when real money's on the line. And that leads right into this next point, something you've got to burn into your brain. No strategy is a magic bullet. Not a single one. You're never, ever going to find something that's right 100% of the time. Why? Because the market is king. It does whatever it wants. So our job isn't to predict the future perfectly. It's to have a rock-solid process that helps put the odds in our favor.
Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with that all-important mindset. Then we'll break down the nuts and bolts of the two-timeframe RSI strategy. After that, we'll look at it in the real world with some examples. And finally, we'll go over some key rules and things to watch out for.
All right, Section 1, the trading mindset. And again, the source really emphasizes this for a reason. Get this part wrong, and even the best strategy in the world can end up costing you money. So what does that actually mean in practice? Well, it pretty much boils down to this. Success is all about discipline. It's about being a robot, you know? You have to shut off that little voice of fear or greed that starts screaming in your head. And that means you have to do your homework before the trade. You need to know your exact entry, where you'll cut your losses, your stop loss, and where you'll take your profits, all before you even think about hitting that buy button. It's like a pilot's pre-flight checklist. You follow it every single time, no exceptions. Okay, let's get into the meat of it. Section 2, the strategy itself. And this is where things get really interesting. We're going to be like detectives, looking at two different time frames. Think of the weekly chart as our satellite view. It shows us the big picture, the major trend. Then, the daily chart is our boots-on-the-ground view, where we look for the precise moment to act. It's like spotting the tide turning from afar and then picking the perfect wave to ride in.
Now, our main tool for this is going to be the RSI, the Relative Strength Index. I'm sure most of you know it. It basically measures momentum. But here's the twist. Forget what you might know about the usual 70 for overbought and 30 for oversold. For this specific strategy, the magic numbers we care about are 40 and 60. That's it. Keep those two levels in your head.
And here it is, the whole thing in two simple steps. It's really elegant, right? So, step 1 is the setup. We're on the weekly chart and we're just patiently waiting. After a stock has been beaten down, we're looking for the RSI to come down and find a floor right at that 40 level. Think of this as the selling pressure finally running out of gas. That's our alert. Then step 2 is the trigger. We switch to the daily chart and wait for the RSI to surge and cross above 60. That's the confirmation. It tells us, okay, not only has the selling stopped, but now the buyers are stepping in with force. Setup, then trigger. That's the game. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like on a real chart with real money on the line? Let's jump into some case studies from the source material and see this thing in the wild.
First up, we've got an example with Hindustan Petroleum Corporation, or HPCL.
And look at this. It plays out just like the textbook. Check out the weekly chart. The stock takes a nosedive, and then, boom, the RSI comes down and finds solid support right at that 40 level. That's our signal to start paying really close attention. So then we flip to the daily chart, and what do we see? A powerful move where the RSI smashes right through the 60 level. That's the go signal. That's the entry trigger.
And the outcome on this one? Well, the source notes it achieved a risk-to-reward ratio of at least 1 to 2. So what does that mean? In simple terms, for every dollar you risked on the trade, you stood to make at least $2 in profit. That's the kind of math you always want on your side.
All right, let's do another one to really drive this home. Next up is Mahindra & Mahindra.
And it's like deja vu in a good way. We see the exact same pattern. First, the big picture on the weekly chart. RSI takes a bounce right off that 40 line, telling us the sellers are probably exhausted. Then we zoom into the daily chart and bam, the RSI pushes decisively above 60. That is our confirmation that the buyers are now in control. Now this one,
This one was a home run. The source material points out that this setup led to a monster move, resulting in a potential risk to reward of 1 to 6. Seriously, for every dollar at risk, there was a potential $6 of profit. It just goes to show you the kind of explosive moves this strategy can help identify.
Okay, so we've seen how powerful this can be, but now we have to circle all the way back to where we started: discipline and rules. Let's wrap this up by going over the non-negotiables and the warnings that the source really stresses.
So think of this as your final checklist. Number 1, the weekly setup always comes first. No RSI support at 40 on the weekly? Then there is no trade, period. Number 2, you wait for a decisive cross above 60 on the daily. No maybes, no almosts. And number 3, and this is a big one, check your greed at the door. Have a plan to take your profits. A 1 to 2 risk reward is a great place to start. And obviously we have to say this is all for educational purposes. Always talk to a professional before making any financial decisions.
So there you have it. We've taken apart a really clever trading strategy piece by piece. But like we said right at the top, the strategy is just a tool. It's only as good as the person using it. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. It's not about if the system works, it's about whether you have the discipline to work the system. So, how are you going to make rules and discipline the foundation of everything you do in the market?